The Out of Bounds Show podcast is powered by the DeWalt tools at Ace Bolt and Screw. Visit acebolt.net for a location near you.
Those can come first.
URKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Out of Warning.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Will Bednar. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Well, that was a wild one. Holy Mary Olzab. Good morning, good morning. Welcome in to the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, WRKS. We are streaming live for you on the Out of Bounds radio app and the Zone1059.com. Hope you had a great weekend, and hope you had a good Father's Day. We did. And here we go on a Monday with three really big stories leading the way. What happened last night in Omaha, Nebraska, as Hail State advances to the winners bracket with an epic win and a wicked performance from their starting pitcher as they advance over a loaded Texas Longhorns team to the winners bracket, where they will play Virginia at 6 o'clock on Tuesday night. Also, Mike Bianco is staying at Ole Miss. He and Keith Carter with the joint press release talking about that, so we'll discuss that several times throughout the show. And LSU continuing to look for a baseball coach to replace Paul Maneri, who did a really good job at LSU. The show is powered by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook. You can wager on college baseball there. They were the first to roll out the odds and the lines, so to speak, for college baseball. The Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook. An award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. Visit dancingrabbitgolf.com, dancingrabbitgolf.com to schedule a tee time or book a buddy's trip or guy's trip. Also, Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line, 601-995-1059. I'm on remote today and out of town, so I've got Blake Mania in the Bank Plus studio. Twitter handle at Bowbounds, presented by Ace Bolt and Screw, powered by DeWalt Tools. We'll be live from Ace Bolt and Screw on Wednesday. Looking forward to seeing that crew with 4 locations now. And then you can hit us up on the text line, 601-885-3776. And that's brought to you by Mississippi Ag. Manage your land with the John Deere tractor from Mississippi Ag. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for making us your sports and entertainment show of choice. Obviously, SEC sports dominate the show. I've got Blake with me. Blake, good morning. How are you?
What's up, boss? How's it going?
Well, I'm doing well. It was a wild night. You know, when you're on the big stage, and this is anything in life, when you're on the big stage, and that's the place to be, you know, everything that you do on the big stage is magnified. I mean, we know that. And so when you play in a Final Four or a New Year's Six bowl game or the College World Series, among other things, everything is magnified, and every single possession or pitch matters. And the intensity level is ratcheted up to really, I think, a level that is really hard to wrap your brain around, even if you're there or watching it on TV. And what Mississippi State and Texas did last night was, one, they both played, you know, a heck of a ball game and competed their tails off. Everything's on the line. You're trying to get in the winner's bracket. I mean, that is the focus, and that is the goal. You are trying to start the national championship tournament off in the winner's bracket. And MSU did that. Something that Blake and I have discussed since February is, well, how about this? In that big college baseball showdown in February out in Texas, Mississippi State and Ole Miss both played the Texas Longhorns. And you knew Texas was good. And they kind of rounded into shape and had a great season. That weekend, Will Bednar did not pitch. He didn't pitch. And so fast forward to last night where Bednar and Madden are going head-to-head. Two really talented guys. And we asked the question throughout the year, what is Bednar? You know, what was he good this year? Absolutely. Was he special? Could be debated. Thought Kyle Peterson made a great point last week or the week before. It's now all running together once we get into the postseason. But he said, man, I like his stuff, but I feel like it's effortless, and there's more there. Well, last night, he gave you a wicked performance and one for the ages. Because Madden, as you were able to see, started off super hot. And eventually Mississippi State was able to just kind of grind out some things, right, and put enough pressure on Texas to generate and manufacture some runs. But Will Bednar, time and time again, when Texas could have gotten something going, he made the pitch. Time and time again. Because they just, Mississippi State wasn't going to score a lot of runs last night. And neither was Texas. And so Bednar, there's no doubt he gets the game ball. But I think that I know y'all want to see him pitch again. And, Mississippi State fans do and advance throughout the CWS. That was a special performance by Bednar. And then a couple of guys put the ball in play and put enough pressure on the Texas defense to where and the win, as Blake was talking about when we were discussing the things that we were going to get into today, the wind and the elements played, they were a factor too. And Blake made a point, two new guys, even though DeBrule is a senior, two new guys in the ninth inning who had never been on that stage. One, a true freshman in Lane Forsythe, made a play, which you could easily bobble that ball, throw it, left or right of first base, over the head of Hancock, whatever. And then DeBrule made a play too, but
and how hard is it, Bo, when you make 0 plays all day because you don't even get a chance? You have one play. Right. So Lane Forsythe made one play in his College World Series career, and it was for the second out of a highly stressful ninth inning with a 1-run lead. You know what I mean? Like, you got one chance. Sure. That doesn't happen that way normally.
No, and again, everything's magnified, man. I mean, the pressure is really, really hard for any of us. I think you embrace pressure in business and big moments and big game hunting and things like that. But, 19-year-olds, 20, 21-year-olds on the big stage. TD Ameritrade was packed, and it was electric. And it was a heck of a 2 days, I thought. So here now you have NC State and Vanderbilt playing today in the winners bracket. And, that Vandy, Arizona game was another epic game to go into extra innings. And I still think Arizona is filthy. Just they are really, 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 really good. And I know they're kicking themselves. They believe that they should be in the winners bracket, but they'll play in the losers bracket early today against Stanford. And then tomorrow, Hail State will play UVA in the winners bracket, and then you'll get a little Tennessee and Texas in the losers bracket. And those two squads are loaded too. So here we go. Some teams will go home today, Blake.
That's right. 35 of the last 39 champions have won their first game in Omaha.
Okay. Give that to me again.
35 of the last 39 champions have won their first game in Omaha.
All right, there you go. There you go. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. Visit MississippiSportsMedicine.com. The Out of Bounds Show podcast is brought to you by Boar's Head Premium Meats, Cheeses, and Hummus. Boar's Head, compromise elsewhere. New Surgery Center Clinic, Lakeland Drive, Flowood. Want to welcome you in. Say good morning. Hang out with us. We've got a heck of a show today. Got a lot to get to on the big board. Hail State wins. Bianco's back. LSU looking for a baseball coach. Big board coming up next.
The coronavirus outbreak is creating massive disruptions in how we all do business. But that makes finding the best employees to grow your business harder than it's ever been. I'm Alan Lang with Kinetic Staffing, and for 15 years we've been providing executive recruiting and long-term staffing solutions for legal, accounting, technology, and management professionals in all types of companies. Call us today at 601-362-4545 or visit our website at kineticstaffing.com. That's KINETIC staffing.
And good morning. Welcome in to the Out of Bounds Show. Hail State with the W over Texas last night, 2-1. Heck of a pitcher's duel between Will Bednar and Ty Madden. And but they got just enough in the fourth and hung on. Landon Sims gives up another home run, but he did what he had to do with runners on first and third. With 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. And he lives for that moment. You know, it's interesting. He was under a lot of adversity and pressure against Notre Dame, and then again last night. But he doesn't let it, even though he gives up a jack, a bomb, and then they continue to hit it a little bit. He did what he had to do to get a ground out and get the W, and for Hail State to advance. As Blake just said, 35 of the last 39 national champions have won game one, and that's what you're trying to do. I mean, there is so much pressure on playing in the ballpark for the first time that year and trying to win game one to advance in the winner's bracket. And so you'll get McLeod on Tuesday against Virginia, who Blake just told me lost their first 5 series of the year and then won 6 of how many, Blake?
6 of 7.
Okay.
Yeah, they started ACC play terrible. I think they were 5-8 to start their regular season, then lost their first 5 ACC series. Like, it was a terrible start to the year. But their coach, who won a national title in 2012, I think, or somewhere around there, they are playing their best baseball right now.
So they're on fire, but Hail State is playing really, really well too, and getting some guys, Scotty DeBrule, Brad Cumbas, some guys that aren't your marquee names, if you will. We all know about Rowdy and Tanner Allen, and Rowdy was on base last night. Tanner was 0 for 4, so you still found a way to win with one of the best hitters in the country going 0 for. And Cam James got on base, but he was got to give him some credit. He was grinding out there to just try to make something happen. By the way, Ty Madden's a first-round pick.
Yeah, number 9 on the MILB projections that I'm looking at right here.
Okay, so number 9. So he's looking at a top 10 pick. And this is what happens when you're Mississippi State and Ole Miss and others. I mean, you just face one first-rounder, one top 10. Well, top 5, top 10, 15, 20 pick on the mound, left and right. And Ty Madden is expected to make several $1 million in the next few weeks. And they expect him, as Blake was telling me, to get in the minors and go. So he's a heck of a talent. But Will Bednar last night was on point. And to punch out, 15 strikeouts anytime is ridiculous, and again, our wicked performance. But 15 strikeouts at the College World Series against the Texas Longhorns is something else. 21 total as Landon Sims punched out. Is that right, Blake?
That's correct.
Landon
so
had 6?
A CWS record, 21 for the team in 9 innings, is a record, as well as Bednar's 15-9 was just short of the 9-inning record. I think 9-inning record was 17 or something like that. So Bednar, 15 strikeouts out of 18 outs recorded. And then obviously Landon Sims, 6 strikeouts out of 9 outs recorded. So 21 of your 27 recorded outs via the strikeout.
There you go. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, is brought to you by Mississippi Ag. Manage your land with the John Deere tractor from Mississippi Ag. The text line 601-885-3776. I'm sorry, what? Okay. Well, we'll wait on that for just a second. I'll get to the Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line here in just a second. Let me set up what all we're doing. Steve Robertson will join us from the College World Series in the next hour. And so Hail State advances. Now, Mike Bianco and Keith Carter release a joint statement, so to speak, Blake, where Mike Bianco has been extended, and he will be coming back to Ole Miss. And I think most of the fan base is excited about that, but I think there are some that are like, hang on, we had already moved on. We thought we were going to get a new shiny toy of Cliff Godwin or Dan McDonnell or, maybe somebody else from a program that had been winning. And we love Mike Bianco, but he's been there 21 years, and we haven't gone to Omaha enough. 1 appearance is not enough for us. 2 more, he'd probably be sitting pretty. And our arch rival is all of a sudden this guy named John Cohen rebuilt the program, modernized the program, and set the standard and expectations in a way that should have been set 20-something years prior to his arrival. But he did it. And now they are winning games in Omaha, and that's what it's all about. If you're gonna, if you're gonna beat your chest and tell people that you're a big-time baseball program, you have to win games in Omaha. Big crowds are great. Big weekends at whatever campus you're on, they're great. Regionals are awesome. Super regionals are extremely difficult. They're brutal. The talent level is crazy. You could mess up and be the better team and still lose 2 or 3 because baseball's totally whacked out. But if you are a big-time program in college baseball, you win games in Omaha. And John Cohen set the table finally in a different way and has now served a different level of filet. And Mississippi State fans like it. And they are now starting, I think, to understand. I mean, you can beat up on John for some decisions. When you're an AD, you're going to make a ton of hires. Not everyone is going to be perfect. But the one thing that you can't beat up on him for is what he has done for your baseball program as far as totally rebuilding a more modern program, but explaining to people and having them understand that the goal is Omaha. It's not big crowds and great food and all that. It's winning damn games in Omaha, Nebraska. And you should have won more prior to his arrival, but you are now starting to see more CWS W's since 2013, Blake. And
it's like you said, it's not just going is the first step, then winning is the second step, right? And we see so many years the teams that show up for the first time, even if they have good teams, can struggle on that stage.
Right.
So the first step is getting in. They've done that now 3 times in a row and 5 times since 2007. Now the next step is continuing to win game after game while you're there.
Yeah. Do we have about 30 seconds? All right.
Really?
We got 30 seconds. Michael, you're on the Farm Bureau Insurance calling line. What's up, man?
Yes, sir. How about them dogs, man? Hey, the way Kyle Peterson was calling the game last night, what publicity for Mississippi State baseball. And then when you hear the crowd in Omaha. I mean, that thing was pro-maroon, Bo. I think we had more people there than we did in 13 when we played for the national championship. M/S baseball is where it needs to be, and we're rolling, baby. Let's go.
Thanks for the call, Michael. Michael was on the Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line, 601-995-1059. Bundle your auto and home. And save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent, or hit favorites.com and get a quote in 4 minutes or less. Super competitive rates, and you can hook up with your Farm Bureau Insurance agent in DeSoto County, Tupelo area, Golden Triangle, Jackson, Hattiesburg, the coast, and everywhere in between. Blake's live in the Bank Plus studio. I'm on remote at the beach. SEC Insider Hit coming up next.
The Out of Bounds Show podcast is powered by Breezy Oaks Ranch. For Mississippi-raised premium Wagyu beef and heritage pork shipped straight to your door, visit breezyoaksranch.com.
Yeah, you can say what you want about John Cohen, but first of all, I think he was an excellent baseball coach, and he's done some good things as AD. But what he did for your base, we've been on this for 12 years, so everybody else is late to the party. Not surprising. But when you understand what Cohen did at Kentucky, and then the rebuild that he had that a lot of people couldn't acknowledge that he had, and it wasn't a slight rebuild. It wasn't, hey, that's a pretty big rebuild. It was a total rebuild that he had. And what he did in the program to jumpstart it, to win games in Omaha, that's what the whole thing is. If you want to be considered a big-time college baseball program, you can be considered really good, and that's a great space. I mean, you can be a really good baseball program, and that's awesome. And that's still better than 90% of the teams. But to be special in a big-time program, you have to win in Omaha. You have to win in TD Ameritrade, period. And that is what Cohen has set up, and then Lamonis has done one heck of a job for MSU. This team is talented, and it looks like some guys are even getting better, over the course of the season. But this is what it's all about. On the big stage, with everything on the line, every single pitch matters. It's not every half inning. It's not every out. It's every single pitch matters. Not just in that game. I mean, if you watch Vanderbilt and Arizona, you're talking about two stacked teams. Loaded with big-time players. Every single pitch mattered. And you felt it with UVA and Tennessee. I mean, even though UVA won 5-0, you still felt like, well, if Tennessee generates some runners here, who knows? All of a sudden throws up a 2 spot, where are we going? And that's where you are when you're on this stage. It's pitch to pitch. I had one guy text me last night and said that game took 65 years off my life. And that's what it – look, if you think it's easy for Clemson and Ohio State and Bama in football, it's not. If you think it's easy for Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky in basketball, it's not. And if you think it's been easy for LSU in baseball, it hasn't been. They've won a ton of titles, but they've won one in 20 years. So you don't just wake up, get to Omaha, and win a bunch of games. These teams are stacked and loaded, and Will Bednar with a wicked, wicked performance. And what will go down is one of those special, epic, performances. Now, what they do the rest of the tournament, who knows? But you want to be in the winner's bracket. You're listening to the Out of Bounds Show ESPN 105.9 The Zone, WRKS. Want to welcome you in, say good morning. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope hope the dads had a good Father's Day, some good food, celebration, so on. Blake is live in the Bank Plus studio, and we're rolling along on a Monday. We've got three big storylines that we're going to hit throughout the day. We may weave in some college football, and NFL, which have to see how that goes. Your SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home insurance and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. And go with Farm Bureau Insurance in the home team in any of the 82 counties in the state of Mississippi. Favorites.com, Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line, 601-995-1059. Will Bednar, game ball, I think that's obvious. Scotty DeBruhl just trying to make something happen. He's not even a guy you really ever talk about. He's a nice player. He's doing everything he can to generate, to get on base. And then Brad Cumbas with a ball that I don't think he thought was going to stay in the ballpark because he hesitated running
100%
on the triple. And he kind of stood there for a second. Rowdy did the same thing late on his blooper to right field. He should have gotten to second base. I'm sure Lamonis and Gotro will correct that probably pretty darn quick as far as get running out of the box. But Cumbas was still able to get to third and obviously on the triple. And the Texas Longhorn right fielder couldn't get there, and the rest is history. But a 2-1 win, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if you win 6-0 or 2-1. A win's a win. You're closing the books, and you're going to Tuesday on that one. Texas is good, and Ty Madden is supposed to be a top 10 pick in the Major League Baseball draft. So he's a heck of a baseball player for sure. And Will Bednar was spectacular. And I know so many of you that were at the game, maybe you're streaming it from Omaha, or on the Out of Bounds radio app, or you were watching on TV, you were able to see how many Major League Baseball scouts were at the game. And that's a big stage for Will Bednar. A big stage. And yet, time and time again, he answered the call, especially on some 3-2 counts where he needed a punch-out, and pitching gems with 2 strikes. So the guy was unbelievable last night, and Foxhall called a great game, but Bednar performed. And 2-1 W, Blake, over a really, really, really good Texas Longhorns team.
Yeah, and the Texas team that had hit the ball pretty well and pretty consistently for the season. I thought 2 things were super impressive about last night. One, what Bednar did was even magnified more so, obviously, by the fact that Mississippi State and Tanner Allen specifically just could not get the offense going, right? And so every pitch mattered that much more. And to your point, I thought the difference in this game being great and other games where he's been good or any other pitcher's been good is that he, like you said, on 3-2 pitches, he got himself out of opportunities without letting guys on base. He only gave up the 2 base runners, a single and a hit batter, and 1 walk. So 3 base runners, a single, a hit batter, and a walk. And that was spread out over six and a portion into the 7th. So that's the difference. When you don't have base runners, even though he threw 120 pitches, it's a lot easier to throw 120 when there's nobody on base than it is when you've got base runners and you're working at a jam.
Sure. Out of Bounds, brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Blake Mania with me. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. Hope you're doing well. You're listening to 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Now, here's another story as we switch gears. And, Blake, if you see anything on the Mississippi Ag text line, let me know. But Mike Bianco and Keith Carter come out with a joint statement. And Mike Bianco will be back. Let me give you the statement. And I quote from Bianco, "Ole Miss is home for me and my family, and I am committed to bringing championships to Oxford. I'm proud of what we have accomplished over the past 21 years, and I look forward to building on that foundation and achieving new levels of success. I want to thank Rebel Nation for their unmatched support year in and year out and how they help make Swayze Field the greatest experience in college baseball. Keith Carter's quote, AD at Ole Miss. Mike Bianco is our head coach, and with his contract extended to the maximum 4 years, we look forward to seeing him lead Ole Miss to new heights. We understand that the consistent success of our program will generate interest from other schools, and with any coach, there can be personal factors that come into play. Mike and I have been in constant contact and have been able to privately sort out fact from fiction. Our program is poised to take the next step towards success in Omaha, and we believe Coach Bianco is the right person to guide us there. So that was a joint statement released from Mike Bianco and Keith Carter yesterday, and Mike Bianco is extended to the full 4 years, which is state law, and he will be back at Ole Miss, barring something really, really crazy. And LSU continues to look for a head coaching job.
Speaking of which,
I'm sorry, head coach.
Speaking of which, the text line is kind of lighting up on that twofold. One, I would ask you, what do you think the overall opinion is from the Ole Miss fan base on this decision? And two, are the rumors that LSU is hunting a coach in Omaha, can you connect those to Chris Lemonis? Because that's the question state fans are now asking.
Yeah, you get the sense that LSU is going to get everybody a raise in college baseball this year. Tim Corbin is jockeying for a raise. Mike Bianco just got an extension. He may have got some other fun stuff in his contract that he wanted. Coaches or agents are all, there's always the new stuff, the new 2 or 3 things that you want, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. There have been rumors about Cliff Godwin, Dan McDonnell. Lemonis kind of floated yesterday. Do I think that Lemonis is going to LSU? No. Could anything happen? Yeah, but I don't think Chris Lemonis. Why would you go to LSU? I think LSU arrogance, and there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, LSU's got a hell of a baseball program. But LSU just thinks, well, we're gonna get whoever we want. I really wonder now if Mike ever had a firm offer. Do I think they flirted and talked and so on? Absolutely. Do I think Mike had some quiet moments and just with himself and then eventually with his wife to really decide if, I guess, he really wanted it and was going to go after it? How close was he? I don't know. Bianco is very, very private person. I mean, extreme private, which is fine. But you're looking across the board here. Tony Vitello, there's still rumors that that's their main guy, that if they had their choice, LSU would hire Tony Vitello from Tennessee, whose team is obviously still playing in the College World Series, and they play tomorrow in the losers bracket against Texas. So I don't know. I mean, do I think that Lemonis is going to LSU? No. Do I think that LSU is finding it more difficult than they thought it would be to poach a sitting head coach? I do. But Scott Woodward, look, I mean, this guy, he looks to be an aggressive AD. They have a ton of money. But see, Ole Miss and Mississippi State are not going to lose a baseball coach because of money.
Nope.
Understand that. It is not 1998
Correct.
or 1978 anymore. They're not losing a coach because of money. It's not happening in baseball. I mean, they weren't losing Dan Mullen because of money. That was just a clear-cut step up in the scheme, in the grand scheme of things of college football with the Florida Gators.
But LSU baseball is not the same gap to Mississippi State baseball as it is Florida football to state football.
Well, you just nailed it. And even though LSU has hung all the banners, one coach had 5 of them. And you can't – and just because you've won them doesn't mean that every coach you hire is going to win them. We see that time and time again at other programs in other sports. So you're right, Blake. And MSU now living in the College World Series, new stadium, and look, they have the most rabid, passionate fan base in college baseball. LSU is rabid. Ole Miss, Arkansas, and there's a few others. But MSU's is the most rabid and passionate fan base in all of college baseball. But look, they're not going to lose Lemonis or Bianco to money. Now, Blake asked the question, how many Ole Miss fans are for Mike Bianco coming back? And how many are against? And I think it's still about 70-30.
The text line is vocally not happy.
Sure. Now, do I think that he could have lost a few more percentage points of the fan base because of what played out this week? Yes. And as Blake said, I'll go with it twofold. One, just because of the flirtation with LSU, which I don't blame Mike whatsoever. I mean, you listen, you take a phone call, hey, what, so on. But also, last Monday and last night is not good for Mike Bianco. Last Monday, Mississippi State beat a loaded Notre Dame team that was capable of winning the national championship had they punched their ticket. I mean, an absolute loaded, old Notre Dame team. And then last night, they won another CWS game. So there's several factors at play here, and that's just part of it. It happens to the Dogs. It happens to the Rebels. Just depends on what's going on. Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line, 601-995-1059. So Mike Bianco back in Oxford. Hail State advances to the winners bracket to play Virginia tomorrow. Will Bednar with his best pitching performance of his career on the biggest stage. And as Blake said, hey, Bednar pitched great against Vanderbilt and Al Leiter and had some other really strong outings this year. But to punch out, to deal at that level and to punch out 15 guys and only allow 3 base runners on that stage against that squad in the Longhorns, man, that was impressive. Also, Texas's first baseman made 2 plays last night.
Oh, my gosh. That was
that bounce, I mean, if that ball goes over his head.
Tanner Allen's, yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Different deal.
It's a 3-4 run right there.
Right.
Yeah, that was huge.
So,
huge.
Hey, another tip of the cap to that young man who is very talented, and he made 2, and then to go to his right and grab that ground ball and be able to throw whoever it was out, and I mean, just threw a perfect throw to first base to the pitcher covering, was also a super play. And I thought both catchers last night, holy smokes, on a night where a wild pitch can literally change the game. And Mississippi State was hunting a wild pitch. And look, Lemonis got aggressive on the bases. Okay, now I don't know if Cam James called his own number on that third base, on him stealing third base and getting thrown out. But the 2 catchers last night were, with everything on the line, a lot of movement from both pitchers. Man, to not give up a wild pitch, that's I'm impressed for sure. So there were so many different things going on that even on a 2-1 game where you don't have a lot of offensive firepower, where you were like, man, like that Texas first baseman, Logan Tanner, playing, super baseball, and then Bednar and Sims. And Sims just, you can hit him a little bit, but he's not going to get rattled. He's there for the moment. He embraces the moment. He's a special player and a special talent. And it's kind of like being a cornerback, and you can get burned, and everybody in the stadium's looking at you. He gives up another jack and then comes back and gets the outs necessary for MSU. And look, they brought he hit 50. What was it, Blake? 51, 52 pitches or something.
No, I think he was in the 40s, but yeah, it was a lot. Okay. I mean, it was a lot. So you're right. Look, he had to battle a couple things. One, Texas finally got a little bit of momentum, hits the leadoff home run, but then he gets 2 outs and has strike 3 and doesn't get it. Gives up a single, gives up another single, and then comes right back and says, "Look, I got this guy. We're all right." And I think that's the piece that we've talked to John Cohen about before, and we've talked to Chris Lamonis. What Landon Sims has kind of mentally brought to the table in those final innings. We saw Auburn do it to Mississippi State a couple years ago. We see it all the time. Arizona did it just Saturday night to Vanderbilt. You lose games late when you don't have guys who understand what it takes to get 3 outs. And Landon Sims has figured out what it takes to get 3 outs.
Yes, and like I said, I think they did a great job not overthrowing him in February, March, April, or May, so that they can use him a little bit more in the postseason. And same with Will Bednar. They capped him, he had some 60, 70, 80 pitch outings. And, it gets warmer and you continue to work your arm and so on and get comfortable with extending the pitch count and into more innings. And like you said last night, he got to, what did he get to, 120, 115?
I believe it was 120. Yeah, I think he came out with 120, something like that.
But and look, he was a whisker away from getting through that inning.
Yep.
But he was dynamite. It will go down as one of the more special performances in Mississippi State baseball history. And now they look. You win Tuesday, you get a couple of days off. I mean, that's the bottom line for Virginia and Mississippi State. And then tonight, when you look at Vanderbilt and NC State in the winners bracket, you win, and you get a couple more days of rest. And then you have more options within your pitching staff. And McLeod will go tomorrow night. But they've got Preston Johnson and several other – well, even Landon Sims could come back. But they have Preston Johnson and several other options to go with tomorrow as they play Virginia. Blake, I may be wrong here. I don't think that they've played Virginia since 2013.
I think that's accurate.
When Cohen took that team up to Virginia in the Super Regional.
Yep.
And he won the first 2 games to win the Super Regional and to punch their ticket to Omaha for the first time under Cohen and the first time since 2007.
Wes Ray hit a home run over the trees there that I still think is flying, much like the Cavadas home run in Starkville.
Yes.
Very similar.
That thing may have hit that into
Maryland?
Potomac.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, you're right. They haven't. I thought this was interesting, just a weird baseball stat. Virginia and Tennessee are 2 of the oldest programs in the country, both dating back to the 1800s. 1800s, like 1890s or something, and neither had ever played each other in baseball.
Really?
Yeah, true story. They'd both been around for over 100+ years, and they are 300 miles from each other maybe, and they've never played each other in baseball.
Interesting.
Thought that was interesting.
Hey, the Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road. That's where you go to get your new driver, putter, irons, golf balls, and everything in the world of golf. Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road. The show is also presented by Havana Smoke Shop. Premium cigars from Havana Smoke Shop, I-55 North, Frontage Road, and across from Shaggy's at the Reservoir. Show is also presented by Went McGee, the Mortgage Man, mortgagemanms.com. Good morning. Welcome in on a Monday. Hour number 2 coming up at the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN.